Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of New World. And in today's video, after the long-awaited ending to the Jane Doe versus Shannon Sharpe case, a settlement has now been made and both sides have come to an agreement on this $50 million lawsuit. Now it is said if the 20-year-old woman came away with the full $50 million or not, so that is to be determined. But you can still take a guesstimate. As the lawsuit first began, Sharpe's team offered her $10 million, in which she declined. So today, we will discuss the lawsuit and what led up to this settlement and what this means for the future of Shannon Sharpe. But before we go any further, make sure to hit that subscribe button and help us on the road to 10K subs. Hit that like button if you enjoy the content, and make sure to share this video if you enjoy. And comment your thoughts on the lawsuit and Shannon Sharpe's actions if you have been keeping tabs. Now Bardo, I'll give you the floor to start us off and break down this settlement and give your thoughts on the recent dismissal.
Yeah, I feel like this case, a lot of people are going to be comparing elements of this case to cases that we've seen prior, like the Shine Puffy Diddy Combs case. But they're two different things, with this being a civil trial. So we haven't really seen a lot of information come out since a lot of those leaks that got leaked to TMZ. So really the only thing that we can do is speculate on what we believe happened and just go based off of the information that was provided. So some of those text messages which were crazy, as well as some of those phone calls. And we also do know that Shannon Sharpe had some more allegations coming out with going back to him with Fox Sports and the situation over there of him allegedly choking a woman. So it's a lot of shit to unpack from that element of it, but we didn't get a lot of concrete evidence from this trial. It was basically kept under wraps. And it just looks like they were trying to figure out what the settlement amount would be. In my opinion, my perspective based on the situation, what happened is that early on this year, the young lady tried to get her bread and tried to basically get Shannon Sharpe to give her however much it was. Shannon Sharpe said no. He wanted to keep this shit behind closed doors. She said, if you're not going to give me the money that I want, then we're going to take this, I'm going to make it public, and we're going to, press charges. Well, not charges, but we're just going to try to get some restitution, because funny thing enough, and this is where I want to get the fellas' point of view on, is that it's just so funny to me that all of these victims, I'm not even just gonna include women, because it's niggas too, but mainly women. But it's just crazy to me that all of these victims, they're hit with all of this emotional, physical, sexual abuse, but they're not pressing charges. They're just trying to get the money. And one thing, I was talking to my mom about it, and my mom was basically saying, like, how can you put a price on all of this so-called trauma? It doesn't make any sense. Is it because this person is of a wealthy status that makes your trauma more valuable? I don't fucking get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. So because you're in a relationship with Shannon Sharpe and he's making all this money, ironic that after he gets that contract extension with ESPN, that the allegations come out, then you put on a $50 million lawsuit. So if he never got that money, would it be a $5 million lawsuit? But the trauma is supposed to be the same. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I think that the most important thing is that we're going to continue to see these lawsuits. And honestly, it's going to really take the judicial system putting down their foot, which I don't think that they want to do, because they get a portion of this pie, but they get the attention and the retention, as well as these lawyers. They get a piece of this pie as well with fees, even if they're on the defensive side. They're making a boatload of bread. Shannon Sharpe is coming out of his ass, paying a lot of money to his lawyers as this shit continues to go on, as well as having to pay the victim all of the restitution. And that, of course, that victim's lawyer is going to be making a boatload. Tony Busby and his people, which they continue to just get just to break bread off. But within that, only way I can see like situations like this deceasing is if, one, the judicial system puts their foot down, or what is a little bit more reasonable, for these niggas to be a little bit more smarter. If you're an athlete and you're making all of this money, if you're Shannon Sharpe and you're a retired athlete making all of this money, why are you in a relationship with a woman that you're 3 times her age? And a lot of people are saying, oh, what are they talking? They're not talking about anything. They're just having sex. But my biggest takeaway is you're making all of this money and you're willing to put all of that on the line for some cooch. I don't personally get it. I think it's dumb. And what infuriates me about the Shannon Sharpe situation is that I no longer watch a nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco, because a big thing with me is that I don't like hypocrisy. Shannon Sharpe is always telling these young guys, oh, you got to protect yourselves at all times and critiquing them. You got to do this, you got to do that. Chad Ochocinco, the same thing. But you're a 55 plus year old man pushing 60, and look at what you're doing. You're getting exposed by a 19, 21-year-old. I can no longer take you seriously. So what I would like to do, and I would just like to make a public service announcement. Can we please stop calling these grown men that we don't know on? We got to stop, because there needs to be some type of accountability right here, bro. Shannon Sharpe made a grave mistake, and he's pushing 60. These are the things that 60-year-old people should not be doing. They should not be making these types of mistakes. And honestly, because with the allegations from what happened in Fox Sports, provides even more validity and credibility to these accusations. Like, there's an accusation that he choked a woman and they had to settle that behind closed doors while he was at Fox Sports 1. I'm not saying that is true, but we're seeing more and more occasions, more and more information come out about him. You need to take a look in the mirror, bro, and figure out what you need to do. Because I was one of those people that was saying that, this shit is probably nothing, but it was still dumb. But Shannon Sharpe needs to take accountability. And I think that I don't want to talk about the alleged victim. I really don't. Because that's a topic that people in our generation want to harp on. Oh, she just wants them. And so, but what about the decisions that these niggas are making? Because in all of these situations where these females are finessing these guys, can we say that these guys are innocent and not culpable? No. They've all either made a dumb decision or they've contributed to that by being violent or being abusive or whatever like that. Nobody's in the right, nobody's in the wrong. I just need for these athletes that have all of this shit at stake to make better fucking decisions. You're making too much money. You shouldn't be getting in trouble. You really shouldn't. Especially if you're 55, 60 years old. You should not be getting in trouble. Stay your lame ass at home and collect your checks like you're not married. Maybe that's another thing that's weird about Shannon Sharpe. It's like, what's really going on? That's none of my business. But now that all this information is becoming public, we get to highlight on that. But yeah, I just thought that this whole situation, this environment was weird from the standpoint of the age, and not because of the age gap, but how in the hell are you 60 years old getting caught up with a 19, 21-year-old getting exposed? This man got finessed out of, we know, at least 10 M's. He got finessed, and he's a grown-ass man. That's what I really want to focus on.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Honestly, outside of what Bardo has already said, I felt like this whole situation really could have been avoided if Shannon Sharpe was a bit more smarter. And it is something when you watch these talk shows and you see okay, he has all these guests on the shows and he's talking to the guests and they're talking about relationships, and it really. It's almost like you can't rewatch it, because it's like after the situation has just kind of destroyed his whole reputation. Even if, the settlement, happened the way it did, which I do have some more questions about. I am trying to really wonder how much, he really did pay under the table, because think of it the whole situation is bare minimum has to be 10 mil. So bare minimum has to be 10 mil with the whole situation going around. And really, Shannon Sharpe could have avoided this situation. Honestly, these guys on Nightcap, it's funny because him and Ultra, they used to do the whole discussions where, they was talking about relationships. And I remember one of the relationships episodes that me and Bardo watched. It was the one when they was talking about eating butt. And the episode was so funny. I always watch it because it's the whole discourse is hilarious. But it's I can't even rewatch the episode anymore because it's Unc is freak as hell. And anybody that calls Shannon Sharpe after the situation, Unc, I really can't take that seriously as well. He's just he's lost that name. To me, he's just Shannon Sharpe. And it definitely puts a whole red mark on his his entire legacy. And now that he's in the sports commentating business, because he said he was thinking about joining back with ESPN once NFL season started coming around. So I think he said so really the NFL season's around 50 days from now. It's somewhere like that. I think that's when week 1 starts and Dallas plays Philly. But I don't even know if that situation is going to be as clean as he exclaimed it's going to be. So this situation is what it is like it's preventable. Like you can prevent this situation from happening, especially from the standard of bro is 60, she's like 20, so it's like if you're like 60, bro, you shouldn't be dating anyone younger than like 25, 30. Like people that actually are developed, are fully developed, like because the whole 18 bullshit, like you don't even have freedom when you're 18, really. Like, you can't do shit. I went out to Chicago, bro. Couldn't even rent a hotel, like, cause I'm 18. It's like you can't do shit. So it's like, bro, you really gotta mind out what you're doing. And one last thing before I pass this off to Jay, like Shannon Sharpe, he's overly freaked out, man. Like I had to say it because it's like you read the text messages and it's like you're doing that, you're doing that, bro, and this really like comes up as a red herring when he had the whole situation with him on IG Live, and that situation went crazy. So this is just a tough situation for Shannon. He's going to have to take this L, and it's going to have to be a big statement on his career, bro, because this is rough, bro. This is rough, and for the Jane Doe situation, she got her money. Like we all know she got her money. So essentially even though she kind of lost out on the whole 50 mil, because it was kind of, she did pick the perfect time to, file that complaint, but she got her bread regardless. So shit, can't hate the player, hate the game. Honestly, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, man, this whole situation, like, Bardo and Buffy both said it could have been avoided. It easily could have been avoided. Shannon Sharpe, he definitely did take an L because, he's a grown man. Ain't nobody saying nothing about, oh, you can't have sex, this and that. But the character that, Shannon Sharpe built for himself as, Unc and all that, and his reputation, it's like these actions that we've recently seen, it's like they're not equating to what you've been talking about on shows and what you've been putting out and stuff like that. So it's like, it's weird how it just flips like that. And, we had the live incident where, he didn't know that it was rolling. So, okay, we was like, okay, cool. And now we got this, and it's something that easily could have been avoided. Like, I'm honestly, Shannon Sharpe, he should have took the advice of one of his guests, Monique, when she said, you need to stop messing with these young females because they gonna get you, and you need to settle your grown self down somewhere and get you one of these older ladies. And I mean, that came back and bit Shannon Sharpe. And look what it got him. Now we don't know how much money, the young girl came up off of, but she definitely got him for something. And like we said, I mean, this could have been easily avoided, and it's one thing that my dad always tells me when it comes to money. He's like, don't mess with your money. Like, whatever you do, don't mess with your money. So don't do anything that can mess with you and leave you out of losing money or putting you in a situation where you can't earn your money no more. And this definitely does leave a stain on his career. Even though it was just like freaky stuff, he still leaves a stain on his career right now. And who's to say he does come back to ESPN? Who's to say he, people look at him in the same light as we have before? Everybody gonna be looking at him a little different. And honestly, throughout this whole thing, even though his name's kind of been under wraps, he was doing things a little different out of the ordinary. We saw that one clip where he was on there with Ocho and Joe Johnson, and some lady was talking to him from the side, and then we saw this nigga just act out of character, and it was like, whoa, like even Joe Johnson was he didn't know how to react, but he was trying to keep it together. And like we've seen multiple clips of him just cursing and all this, and it's like this one the same dude that we normally saw before. So it's just kind of tarnishes his character, and now everybody got to look at him differently. This is, I mean, should be an easy learning lesson that you shouldn't have to learn. Pushing 60, this is kind of something that shouldn't be happening. And I mean, this is really a lesson for any older guy. These older guys got to stop messing with these young girls. Even if you could say, oh, the young girl taking advantage of the dude, these older guys, they grown men. They know what they're doing. So it's not like, oh, these older guys, they out here just getting taken advantage of and they can't really think for themselves as they're older. Nah, these are like, 50 some year old, 60 some year old guys who just ain't got nothing else better to do, ain't married, and they're just trying to have some fun at 60. Like, I get it, you got you a bunch of money, but you can have fun in different ways that it don't mess with your money and it don't tarnish your character like this. See what I'm saying? So it's ain't nothing but a learn less for Shannon Sharpe. We shall see what the future holds for him as far as being on a big name media outlet, or is he just gonna have to stick with being on Club Shay Shay? So Shannon Sharpe a freak, but hey, he definitely got his pockets robbed. I'm kind of interested to see how much she really got up off of him, because she did say she didn't want the 10 M's, and I'm probably taking a guess that it's probably at max maybe 20 M's. But even though, man, I'd be so hurt losing 20 M's, even if I did just get a contract. Like I said, man, don't do nothing to mess up your money, dog.
Two things before we close out. First thing, when are people, not talking about my brothers, because we all understand that this image is a fabrication. When are people going to realize that what you see on TV, what you see in movies, what you hear in music, what you even now see on a social media platform like a YouTube is a fabrication? It's an illusion. It's not real. Taking these influencers seriously for what you see on that social media platform is a very big mistake and grave error. And it's what people are banking on to get you to put more money in their pockets. Why do you guys think that on all of these social media platforms, these people are promoting products? They have these sponsors because people realize that how gullible the public is. They actually believe that when Shannon Sharpe tells these athletes what they need to be doing, that he really cares and he really believes the bullshit that he's saying. He doesn't. It's just good for his carved out image. Now that image is done. So now real people that it takes them a little bit longer because their IQ is not that high, now they see it in plain day, in plain sight. Oh, this guy is a liar. That's just what it is. Let's call it out. He's a liar, but Shannon Sharpe is no different than everybody else. He just got played like a dummy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, and this is just a little bit more deeper convo. I may even cut it out. I don't even know. But black men, especially young black men, we got to realize that we have to move differently than other demographics. We cannot afford to not be on point. Because look at a guy like Shannon Sharpe. He had everything. If people calling him Unc. He had all of these sponsor deals. I remember watching Nightcap and they had the Boost Mobile shit and they had like all of these sponsorships on his Club Shay Shay platform. He was bringing on all of these guests. He was winning awards and all this extra shit, getting money from ESPN. Now because of one situation, all that shit is dead. It's gone and he's not going to get it back. He's not going to retain it. It happens like that. Meanwhile, a situation that we're not talking about is this CEO that just got exposed as of recently for being with his mistress at a Coldplay concert. For one, that man is worth $1.2 billion. Both of them are taking a leave. And I've been having conversations with people that are saying he'll be back. he'll be back. And just look at some of the pictures. It's not hard to explain why he will be back. You know what I'm saying? So my message to people, to young black men that are in our age group, because a lot of people that are watching these videos are of the same age of us and in that demographic, just be careful out here, man. You cannot afford to be slipping up. You cannot afford to not be on point, especially when you have something good going for you. And if you don't have something good going for you, you need to start working to develop your plan on how you can be a productive individual and not worrying about all of the bullshit like the excess and the women. All that shit will come, but it just ends up becoming an additional distraction that you have to manage. And Shannon Sharpe, what he didn't do is he had all of this motion, but he didn't manage his distractions well. And that's a shame because a grown ass man is supposed to check his impulses. He couldn't do that. He let his other head take over what was actually important, as Jay said, which was the money. So that's just my little word of advice for everybody out there, man. Just be careful, just be cautious, and just watch people in general. I'm not in the arena of saying just watch women, just watch people in general, because a lot of people, unless they're like your parents or your siblings, don't have your best interests at heart. You got to pay attention and observe everybody.